Guess who's back? Everybody get down. Guess who's back? Yes, stand up, stand up. Wait, what? Hold on. Am I reading this correctly? A Black Clover manga podcast by LuckyRave? Is this really a thing that's happening? Is this really a thing that's happening? Yes, you
Oh,
got
it's happening, all right. Sorry, I got too excited because it's really happening, guys. But let Lucky Chi finish the introduction.
Yeah, and it really shouldn't come as no surprise. Okay, maybe it is a little bit surprising to my longtime viewers out there, but if you've been following me, and if you've been following my Tokyo Ghoul Read podcast, which officially came to an end as of last year, first podcast run was great, and I said by the end of the final podcast that I have something new planned, like a new podcast series that I'm going to be doing. I wasn't ready to announce it because I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to be. And after giving more time and thought and consideration, I was like, it has to be this. It just has to. And then, I talked it over with my buddy, as you just heard, and we were like, let's do this. So, of course, as you all know, I can't really do this by myself. I mean, yeah, I could, but what fun would it be just having me around, just talking by myself, when I could just be doing this with a friend? So, I've got a special friend / special guest with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My pleasure. Yeah, I kind of spoiled myself just doing got a little excited there because this is the first ever podcast to a series that, honestly speaking, I didn't expect to be part of it. Because if you asked me a year ago, no, not even 2 years ago, hey, Sparta, will you ever do a review or talk about anything about Black Clover? Well, I would do my first impression. That's all I would do. And after that, the series is fine. The series is cool. I mean, I know it plays it safe. It does play safe. There's a lot of potential to be had. I don't know if we ever see it, but if we do see it, then hell, more power to them. And today, well, it's amazing how much it has changed. I mean, it didn't really change per se, but it's more like understand and upgrade and update itself to the core that is now enjoyable to the point that it has garnered so many fans, and it's actually amazing and funny at the same time where I see like posts like, hey, One Piece is out, cool, awesome chapter, damn it, hiatus. Then you get like another series, I don't know, like Dr. Stone, cool. Well, when is this next chapter? But yeah, stuff like a little thing mention of the other series. Then you get like My Hero, Black Clover. Where's Black Clover? Is Black Clover next? It's like, what is that saying? I don't know. Try not to be biased, but the idea is that, Black Clover interest has actually increased. And it's funny because like the anime, it isn't the best, but it is picking up audience. So at least it's doing that part of the job. And plus, it is getting more interesting in terms of the context. Is the context is where they're at right now is where it gets better, and that's where it starts to shine. It's kind of like, well, I guess I'll explain later, but let me just get out the introduction because I'm still in the introduction phase. So yeah, I'm Sparda3g. You know me from Tokyo Ghoul, One Piece, and all the other podcasts that I have covered with Lucky Chi because he likes me as his guest, and I'm always happy to be part of it. So it's great to be here, and very unusual place that I thought I would never be, but because of what happened recently, here I am.
Yeah, and it's crazy because if you had asked me, I think my Black Clover came out 2015, right? So if you would have asked me 4 years ago, hey, LuckyRave, are you going to be doing a podcast on Black Clover? I would have been, like, my straight up answer would have been like, no, of course not. I don't want to say it was bad because I never thought Black Clover was bad. I just thought it was fun, but I never really thought it was anything worth talking about. Not worth doing like a podcast series over. But since the beginning, I have kind of kept in touch with the series and just kind of seeing where it's been going. Like, I've always just thought it's been a fun series. And then not recently, but like, I'd say midway through 2016, is kind of where I started noticing. Like my attention on Black Clover kind of started like growing without me even realizing it. Then 2017 hit. The last arc in Black Clover, I was like surprisingly like into it, like on a weekly basis, and I was like, dude, I can't wait for the next chapter. Like, it just feels very intense. And lo and behold, it actually was, and it's one of the best arcs in the series. To where we are now with this current arc in Black Clover, and man, dude, Tabata is like firing on all cylinders. Like I know a lot of people say like, oh, like coming off from Hungry Joker, it's like this is it. This is the series that we're doing. But now you're kind of seeing, yeah, Black Clover kind of needed to start off that way to get to this point because now some of the perks you see in Hungry Joker. Now I'm not saying Black Clover has reached the Hungry Joker status in terms of like quality. There are like subtle things in his writing that you could tell come from Hungry Joker, and it actually meshes together very, very well. And I remember like just sitting there and just kind of thinking, wow. Like, and it's crazy for me to even consider that, like, yeah, like after Tokyo Re, like this is the next podcast series that I'm gonna be doing at Sparda3g. Because wow. I don't know what else I can say other than that, but like Sparda, do you have anything you want to add on with when it comes to
Well,
doing this particular series?
like I said, it's rather amazing because I know a lot of people after I made that first impression video, they all wanted me to try to do the review for the series. Even at Tumblr right now, it's like, hey, can you do a review for Black Clover? I'm like, man, I honestly would love to, and honestly, I would. It's just that I don't have that much time, especially when I cover a lot of other series in writing form. And me and my strength with working time is actually exhausting. So I don't want to try to kill my body over it. But if I do have gained more strength or have one extra slot for it, I would like to do it. Hell, I'll even go far as saying like, I would like to swap one series. I'm not naming that series, but I think you get the idea. I would love to swap one series and start reviewing Black Clover. I mean, again, I'm a little amazed because like way how I see Black Clover in terms of improvement and the reason how everybody started to be more interested with the series, and you could say the anime has a part of it, and it does. But I feel it's having a slow effect of like how every other series started to show their peak or started to show their best part of their thing, like something that's becoming more pronounced from everyone. And all is missing, I guess you could say, is like there's anime YouTubers to start to sponsoring or start advertising like they know it is the best thing ever, that they want to be part of it. Kind of like how what happened when Gintama got to that one point, and then everybody suddenly acts like it's the best thing ever, even though it was always
That's
that great back
true,
then.
because I remember that.
But then all this, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, hey, look, if you legitimately become a fan and you like the series legitimately, that's fine. You could do that. You could be part of it. I'm not accusing you. It's just kind of funny how the timing seems to be always like, that series, that arc is being talked about everywhere. I always love that series too. That series is amazing. It's like everybody gets in there. I mean, me with Black Clover, I've been following for quite a while now. Like I've been following since around chapter 50, and then I decided to make a video around 67 or 68. I forgot what number, but I decided to make a video because I wanted to see what's up about it. What's because the worst part of it, my interest came from the fact that it was announced to be the worst manga of 2016 or 15. I forgot which year.
I remember that
I'm
too.
like,
I was like, really?
I was like, okay, now I'm curious. So I read the series and I'm thinking, it's not that bad. I seen worse. I seen honestly to God worse. I don't know what series came out around that time, but I know there's other series that should be way more than it should have been selected over Black Clover. The only reason Black Clover was selected because it's generic. And I get that. It is a series that you have seen many times before. That's understandable. I seen that, and I understand why people would choose that. But at the same time, I feel like that's unfair because it's like, yeah, I know it's generic, but usually bad would mean something that you're trying and you fail miserably, or you're doing something purposely bad. Like it's not like in movies. Movies you could definitely tell which one is legitimately bad. I mean, we got the category of guilty pleasure or so bad is good. But then there's other movies that's legitimately bad, and it has to be considered bad. You can't just put like, well, it's so bad it's good. That's the worst movie just because it's technically bad. But it's better to find a real bad one because it's legitimately bad. You hate it to your gut. It's like 0% Rotten Tomato or anything like that. Something that's really gets you angry, furious that you wasted your time. But you have no choice because you're a critic, you're a reviewer, you're somebody that loves movies, like those kind of things. So when I read Black Clover, I found it unfair that it was criticized as the worst manga. Either the selection was very slim, which I doubt because I seen the other selection and I felt like the other one were actually worse than that. But reading it, but like again, when I read it, it's all fine, it's all cool. I know what it's trying to do, and there's potential to be had, but I didn't know if the potential would ever be utilized, would be realized by Tabata. Will he understand that he has something that could be, just flesh out and to go bonkers with the storyline, or not the storyline, but go bonkers with the action? And it took like an arc or two later after I made that video, because I think it was around the Water Temple arc. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was. I
remember
remember.
correctly.
I think during that time, like it
Okay,
was. It was. I
yeah,
think no. I
because
think the
like
temple arc had just started at that point.
yeah, because like the thing about that the around that time, we got the surface of the character, we got the introduction of the character. They have some good. They had like good developments, simple but really still effective and still good. And every character has potential. It's just that I don't know if it ever is going to be utilized. Noel gives me a iffy impression because again, I have a bad experience with heroine, mainly because of Naruto. It's still fresh
Yeah,
around
that
that
that was
time.
the other thing too, is that like Black Clover came out like shortly after Naruto had ended, and
Right.
make no mistake when I say this, but that first chapter like really kind of reminded me of that. I was like, interesting, but I don't know.
I can understand a lot of people will get thrown off by the first chapter because it was like down by the book all accordingly in terms of like how to create a shonen. Step one, get a demon form of a character. Step two, be an underdog, be a delinquent, be a loudmouth. Step three, get a crazy backstory that has a monster involved, which happens to be with the protagonist as well. Step five, it was a great ninja magic what do they call it? Magic, right?
Magic Emperor?
um Emperor, yeah, the Emperor, but like, was there a name for it? Yeah, whatever. So Emperor, and be the greatest of all time. Be that guy, be the Hokage. Or point is, you have a goal, and above all steps, have a rival, and that's what they all do. It takes every single down by the book, and it just did it all the way. But the one curveball will be the rival is not as, oh, I'm a delinquent, or I am so godly, I hate you, I don't like you. Off you go. Instead, he's like, all right, he's my best friend and I like to be challenged by him. So
And
I was like, oh,
he kind
okay.
of came off that way early on because I remember I was reading the chapter.
He,
I was like, yeah, I'm getting that impression too. That's not good. And then when that chapter ended, I'm like, that was different.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's actually a nice twist in a sense. I like that one. All right, I'm going to continue reading. So you got a lot of things that you see by the books, and they're not bad. It's just something that you don't really think is that special, which I understand. It's that the one thing that caught my attention was the action. It was the fast paced action. Not only is fast paced action, but it has a lot of really neat teamwork. And I thought maybe if he continued to do something like more of that, I think this series has a lot of potential to behold. And I have a lot of enjoyment that is going to be like something that fans will actually be saying, like, see, this is why I read this series because it has this really neat action, fluid movement, fluid choreograph. It's like, hey, I like this type of stuff. It's not like a very slow pace or very emotional, like too much drama. That usually that sometimes Naruto does do that, but it does make up for some good action sequences. Yeah, it was right after that, and then I didn't stop reading, but I didn't think anything more of it. And people were asking, "Hey, can you reread the series?" Like, I don't know. I ended up choosing Kingdom, which is not a bad choice. But again, I can understand a lot of people want me to go for Black Clover. So going all the way to now, it's amazing how much it has changed. It feels like The way I see it is like you get two games or two movies. First one is like a lot of potential has shown. Okay, let me use the video game analogy. I'm more better with that one. Video game analogy. You see like the potential because they just show you the demo. They show you how much you can do, how much you can explore, how much action can it have. And then when you play the first one, it's like, okay, the idea is really cool. Unfortunately, it's not executed perfectly because it feels limited and there's not that much variation, not much to do after you beat the game. No, there's a new game plus, but there's not much added into it, or there's not much to be, there's not much you want to care about exploring after the game ended with the story mode. That is. Then that's where part two comes in. And when part two, not only it does the same, but it finally maxes out the potential, and then everything starts to feel like it's a brand new game, a brand new franchise, which is not because it's a sequel, but it feels like it because now everybody knows about it and everybody cares about it, and everybody want to make that game into a very popular franchise that you'll end up spawning books, novels, spin-offs, action figures, whatever. The first thing that comes to my mind would be Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed first, when they first demonstrated, it was like phenomenal because it was something that you don't see in every game beforehand. And then when part two comes out, that's where it's like, there you go, you master it, you master that technique that you had before, but you finally master it. That's Black Clover, because again, all I saw was potential. And then I waited to they find to Tabata find the moment of mastering them, and he did. And he finally does it around, I guess you could say, the tournament arc, whatever he calls that tournament. He starts to show more and more.
I think it's
and
called
then
the
it just
Royal
gets
Knights Tournament. I think that's what it's called.
right. That which is the anime is at right now. That's where it starts to shine a lot more. Yeah, a lot of people start to say that it's the Water Temple. And it does, especially the anime, because there was a one really great animation sequence. And then you got the other art that just finished with the whole Witch Forest, which was really good too. I mean, I still have problem with some of the choices or some of the character part. Well, not character, more as a story part. But in terms of action, it was pretty cool. But it was the Water Temple that's really starts to shine, especially when you got the fact that Noelle starts to become an actual useful character, because it was like a slow burn back then. It was a slow burn. It reminded me of Sakura, but it was only a matter of how long am I going to wait until she becomes like a useful character, or a character that I could get behind completely. And she it's not like I discarded her, but I was iffy with the fact that she was like have a crush with Asta. I mean, yeah, it's fine to have a heroine to have a crush with Asta, but I don't want it to be a prominent thing. I want to be a side thing. Like, okay, I have a goal of my own, and the other goal will be, I guess, win over Asta. But that's fine. But it doesn't have to be like, well, my only agenda is trying to win Asta. Period. There's no other plan I have.
Kind of straying away from, I'm not gonna mention the series name, but you know what I'm referring to.
I know. Oh, boy. But going back to this, but like you look at what happened now. It's like, huh? She. I thought what Tabata did with her when she finally got the control of her power. I thought that was just a throw a bone moment, meaning like, okay, look, the fans are really craving for her to do something. I'm gonna just throw a bone, just have her do one attack, boom, she got a control. Now I don't need to worry about her for a long time. That ended up not true, because we actually see more of her fighting. We actually see more of her improvement. And above all, we actually see more character development against her family, for her pride, with her family, with her new family, the Black Bull. It's pretty damn rather astounding. And
I think she also really cemented that, like when she fought her brother in the exam too.
Yeah. So I was like, holy crap. She's awesome now. Like she's legitimately a character that I could get behind. Like it's like Sakura, only we're skipping multiple arcs, and we skip all the way to the part where she finally got that part two momentum that we've been dying for a long time, where she fought against sorcery. And that's what Noelle was pretty much has been doing. She has been upgrading, she has been updating, ever since that time she controlled her power. So it's not like it was a one-time gig, and then you probably see her fight much later on, which is not true. You actually see her fight and character develop as well. She does get development before as well, like before the whole finally got to control the power, but it was just the iffy feeling because how like not only she hasn't fought that much. I mean, she's improving bit by bit, which is cool. I thought that was neat that she was improving bit by bit. It's just that it was still hard to be justified on the feeling that she will be a really cool character or a really good character or really handled well by Tabata himself. Excuse me. And I don't know, only know by Hungry Joker.
That's how I
He
knew
got
him. It was just from Hungry Joker.
Yeah, his work got canceled, so I don't know what he's capable of. It's kind of like same thing with My Hero, I guess.
With
Like I don't know
Garage,
what he
yeah.
was capable of. Yeah, like I read his two canceled series. Like the first one had potential, but I guess the people wasn't that interested. And personally, I kind of wish he added more detail on the animal because it seems like the more common knowledge of 101, not like whether the Dr. Stone is being realistic with the scientist. At least some of the points does sound realistic in a
It does.
in this world. Like maybe it doesn't happen, maybe it does, but I do feel like it has some realistic take. Maybe it's just a little bit not exaggerated, but more like downplay. It's also like, well, it had to take a little bit more than that to make it really happen in real life. But at least I feel like I'm being not only like educated, but I also feel like I'm actually engaged with the way how they try to give me the learning process. It's like, oh, that's pretty fun. So it's the same with like a other series. Like there's a series that's like it's badass, it's action, it's comedy, but it has historical facts to insert. I was like, oh, okay, I like that. There's nothing wrong with getting educated. So with that Zoo series, it was obvious there was some educational inform, but it feels rather common knowledge 101. And I don't know if that's a breaking point. It's most likely just me, honestly. But I feel like he should have done more with that. And maybe, just maybe, he could have kept up. And I thought going straight to the action oriented focus was like too quick. So maybe that's
It really
where
was.
either that yeah, either that or the editor told him, "Hey, listen, the fans, the audience doesn't seem that thrilled too much. I mean, it's good, but it seems like they needed a little bit more in there. Can you do like an action? It's kind of like what they said about Hitman Reborn. They said that Hitman Reborn was supposed to be all this action and just become one after like many slice of life episodes or chapters. That's what I heard. I'm not even sure that's true, but I should have researched into this before. But that's what it feels like to me. The other series, Barrage, it just got canceled because I guess it's just not interested. It was all right, but it was just not interested. And then you got My Hero. Then it's like a different story because, well, not only is this part of his hobby that he adores, which is comic book, but now he gets to flesh out everything he has. So he has passion with the series, and he does a lot of things that's pretty cool. I'm not going to comment later on the quality wise, but the point is, I didn't know what he was capable of until he gets some work done or he gets something that he's in love with, in terms of like, hobby wise. So with Tabata, we didn't know what he's capable of with Hungry Joker because it got canceled. All I remember in Hungry Joker, there was a heroine that gets a power up or gets a power 100 officially. And then it got canceled by establishing, hey, everybody, we're gonna fight the enemy, the final bosses. There we go. Let's do this.
Yeah, I
And
remember
then
that too. That was
so
like,
it happened.
what?
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, well, okay, honestly, I didn't read it until it already got canceled. I read it like maybe 4 years after it got canceled, but I was like, you know what? Let me read that because that's because the Black Clover is doing this series. The Black Clover mangaka did that one. So let me read this one. So I decided to read that, and it was funny because I'm like, I don't even know what chapter I'm in, but I'm just reading until it gets to the end point. Then I just see something like, wait a minute, I feel like that guy should remain hidden. What is suddenly he's showing himself? Oh, this is where it gets canceled. Then I
Yeah.
read the next chapter. Read the next chapter. Two sub bosses die. I was like,
It was like,
where
like
did
imagine like Naruto and Sasuke like meeting up for the final fight. It's like, well, stay tuned for the next one. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, huh, what just happened? And then the second last chapter, no, the last chapter, it was like, it was kind of cool with the boss fight, but then it dies, and then like three pages left. They pretty much give you the idea, but the story is not over, even though we would never resume. So that was weird. And you can tell there's a lot of plot points that he wanted to do, but unfortunately that's just not gonna happen. So cancel. And he explained the reason why it got canceled. It was just not too interesting for the fans. It was not interesting. So he decided to do something with magic and thought of a lot of creativity with the magic and see like where he can go with that. So yeah, it's more like a second idea. But at least he's putting a lot of work to it, especially in the artwork design.
Oh,
And it seems like he's getting, yeah, and he seems like he's more attached than ever with the series. So you can definitely tell where all the improvements started to kick in a lot. So again, it may be a series that's common, that's simple, that's something that you already know of. But the best part of it knows about it. It knows that it's simple. It knows what it is. It's like a movie that doesn't take itself serious, and it knows it's a summer blockbuster film, but that's what makes them successful. If it knows itself, if it's self-aware, they could go all out about it. That's how the Fast series got a huge improvement once the fifth one kicks in, because they understand what their target audience is. Yeah, it's supposed to be the car audience, but now they go with a different approach, and they understand how over the top they can't be, but that's fine because they are self-aware of that. So if Black Clover is the same case, they're not going to take too serious. They're not going to be like, oh, we're so edgy because even though I'm being edgy with the simplest plot line ever, at least it knows like where his audience and what it needs to be done. A fast paced action. It needs to be a character that's just likable, and it just needs to provide all the entertainment for fans. So now we got that, and it keeps up because went up a notch because the action is actually more impressive because of the teamwork is actually more creative, and that's where all the creativity comes in, the teamwork. I'm not gonna bother to mention the other series, but the teamwork in this series is really, really damn good. Like it really works out. It really flows almost perfectly,
like
honestly.
very
And
organic.
I'm yeah, or very organically. Like the best part about the reason why I love teamwork and the reason why I find it to be the best part of it is because not only it acknowledge all the character usefulness, but it remains them. It keeps them usefulness. So it never feels like they're left behind. We're too overpowered. Oh, we can't help him. Why? Because we'll be distracting him. We'll be getting in his way. There's nothing like
No,
that.
there was never a point
It's
like that in Black Clover.
no. Instead, what we got is like we could help him, but we just need to figure out what part we can help him about. I got an idea. I carry him by I can't. I'll use my string to carry him. Yeah, and I'll use my portal to trick on the enemy. So that way he would never guess that Asta will appear behind him or above him or below. It could go randomly. And there's so many different creativity with the whole team action. It's crazy. I'm like, how can you think of that? I didn't even think of that. Shit,
No, I didn't
that's
either.
that's a so yeah. I'm just amazed with the series, how much it improved from the last time I made a video about it and all the way to this point. So
The fact that we're like
happy
this
to be part
invested
of
in
it.
the series is the thing that really surprised me because I never thought I would get to that point with Black Clover.
Yeah. And it's rather amazing. It's more amazing how I mean, you could try to argue like, well, because My Hero got popular, everybody has to hate it. Well, you could argue with with that result, but personally, I do see more of reasonable why people would dislike it because they have their own reasons. Even if considered just being overrated, which I can understand, but The other one, they do find more. They do insert more reason that's actually more understandable. That you can say, "All right, you got me there." You don't need to say, "Oh, I disagree." You don't need to. Yeah, I'm not saying you should just agree to it, but you could just respect it. It's not like something very immature of a decision. But when a Black Clover, when it comes to like his focus, his content is more, I guess it's more happy in compare. Like when it's like my hero is like, it seems
Kind of
very
like very
I want to say
lighthearted.
it's like yeah. Well, I mean, like the fan base, it feels kind of toxic and for my hero, or maybe it's toxic. I don't know.
Well,
I don't even know
actually,
anymore.
lately, I can definitely say that.
Well, okay, but
Well,
Black Clover
well,
seems very relaxed
I
and
think it's been
very.
more so that way, like ever since the anime started. That's kind of where I've been noticing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's funny one video, somebody's like, some people really believe this is a king of shonen. Ha ha ha. What? And then this has a lot of thumbs up. Like, okay, a lot of negative thumbs up. Well, a lot of negative, I guess the most top comment, which is weird, but it is what it is. But when it comes to Black Clover, it seems like a lot of people are more relaxed and more cool about it. So even though it's not as popular as My Hero or let alone Dragon Ball, but at least it has some good amount of fan base, and at least there's some people out there that really believe that Black Clover is a really pretty good series,
Yeah,
and I
like
don't
no
blame
one's
them
out really like
because
killing each other unless you're like heading over to the My
okay.
Hero camp or you're heading over to the Black Clover camp and just like having some kind of series war. But I digress.
Yeah. I mean, even Siri, even my iPhone want to say, yeah, I agree. Black Clover is good. I'm not sure why the Siri just went on itself. Maybe it really wants to say that. But bottom line is, I would never expect myself to be part of the Black Clover related video again. But here I am, and I'm not ashamed of it.
No, I'm not either. Part of me kind of really wanted to start this after the tournament arc, but I wanted to see. I was like, me. I'm like, okay, we've had a really good arc with the tournament stuff. We should see. I told myself, let me see where this arc goes first. And plus, Tokyo Ghoul was still going on, and because that was my top priority. And with Tokyo Ghoul being on, I'd mentioned that something there needs to be something. And by this point, especially right now, Black Clover, like it's chapter by chapter. Like I'm sitting here and going like, wow, Tabata. Like I want to know what happens next because this arc from the beginning has just been on fire. I don't want to go in like detail by detail, like explaining everything. The stuff with Zora, like when he first showed up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Black Bull member." I'm like, "What?" Like that to me, I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." And when you get the flashback, you're like, "No, that makes sense." And the thing I really kind of noticed about Tabata, and I'm not saying he's like Ishida when it comes to subtlety and foreshadowing, but I'd have picked up on a couple of things, and they kind of does link back to like previous arcs, and I'm like, holy shit! Like some of the stuff has actually been established, and I'm like, whoa, that's actually pretty unique. Not to mention, early on in this arc, there was Eye of the Midnight Sun's headquarters, right? If you really look at it and you go back to Hungry Joker, like you see a building that's like very similar to that. And
Oh
I
yeah, I picked up on that one. Yeah. I was like, huh, that looks familiar too. And then once you told me about it, I was like, yeah, there we go. That was it. Hungry Joker. I was like, that was cool. That's pretty damn cool. I mean, like again, I believe he said he really did wanted to do Black Clover, Hungry Joker, but the interest wasn't there, especially with the protagonist considered being boring, according to the feedback, which it's not far from false or truth or whatever, however you want to say it.
Mhm.
But I felt like it should have given more chance.
Really
Uh,
shows.
I don't know. It just got canceled because fans wasn't interested. But maybe it's another case of double arts. Never forget. But maybe it's another case of that. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, one series lives, the other series remains someone's memory, and mangaka's memory is definitely one among one.
But yeah, like I remember I saw that and I was just sitting there going like, is that Tabata like just kind of giving the fan base? I'm like, see, I wasn't able to do this the first time, so I'm bringing it back here, and wow, that's cool. That's like really cool to see. I mean, again, like there's like a lot of stuff that happened in Black Clover in terms of like events, but the entire elf invasion, we need to start this whole thing off with the stuff because I remember when when people were turning into elves, like when the whole reincarnation thing was happening, and we see and he has like that glowy thing around him, and at first I remember I was sitting there going like, oh god, I'm like, Tabata, don't go that approach. Like, granted, it would be a lot more believable here if you did go down the Sasuke approach. Luckily, that wasn't the case. Luckily, it didn't go that approach. I was like, all right, that's good. And then, shortly after that, like you had like a Leo Leona taking the fight against Licht. That was cool. And I think for me, like the biggest breaking point on this arc for me was Julius. Like when Julius was unleashing his grimoire, I remember I was like at the edge of my seat going like, yo, wait a second. We've never seen this guy's grimoire before. And it was definitely crazy. But then it got to another point. He died. Like, this dude got like stabbed and like he's on the ground and then you see him like talking to Yami. And I remember I was just sitting there going like, holy shit, did that just happen in Black Clover? Like, what? And again, since then it's just been like building up. The other big highlight for me was Noelle. Like I remember, like yeah, Noelle got her a big shine in the tournament arc, and there was something that I kind of picked up on during the tournament arc. Well, kind of like the pre-training arc, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and that came into play here. Like when you see what Noelle did, I was like, whoa. I'm proud to say that Noelle is probably the best, if not one of the best, shonen female protagonists of this generation. Sparta, what about you? What's your thoughts been on this arc so far? Like from the beginning to where we are right now?
Oh, they definitely shift everyone's attention, that's for sure. But I thought it was one of the I didn't think because I can't think since I'm following the series, so it's not like I'm gonna base on the fans like what's going on? Why everybody's talking about Black Clover or something? Didn't you hear it's getting crazy? It's more like I'm a part of that because I saw it myself and I too thought the same thing. It's pretty damn good. It gotten crazier, it gotten better, and it's just downright downright exciting. Actually, it's like one of the series that I'm actually anticipating every weekly basis. It's just I don't review them, but that's not the point. I still follow them, and I'm just excited as ever. But I'm just more impressed the fact that all what I thought of about the series, the potential and everything, is finally being utilized and more because now Tabata is going all the way with this arc, with the teamwork, with the characters, the developments, the powers, all the stuff that I wanted Black Clover to have, and it's finally there. And it was like, yes, you finally got it. You're finally doing it after so long, but it's worth it because what I like to see it now is like, okay, you get a slow burner, you get the whole, oh my god, how generic can it be? The chapter 1, and then you got a lot of character introduction. You got a lot of other unique concepts, which unfortunately didn't get explored more because you want to go fast paced. But the fast pace actually becomes an upside once you get to the tournament, it actually becomes like a benefit tool. So it's no longer like, oh damn it, you kind of went too fast there. You should have given more time so I could digest the scenery, digest the whole new world. But now Tabata understands that, and he's not only like gelling perfectly, but he's also going up a notch for the drama, for the suspense, for the tension. And it's not like you have Asta taking care all by himself every single time. He has many times that he could have been in trouble, but instead his friends helps out. And, he could say, not calm on this, not calm on that. That's fine. But if you show me how he's being rescued, how he's overcoming the odds by showing like the teamwork, the efforts, his own skills without resorting to the BS moment. No sage path, six sage path thing. Oh God, I can't believe I brought this up. I can't resist. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's somewhat spoiler, so I'm not gonna remind that part again. I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Anyway, so yeah, you don't get that. What we got is like everything you know for this character, everything you know about this character, what's the skill set, it's all there, and that's what you go by. You just see the guy just kicking ass, and hopefully he doesn't just fall out and just lose at some point. But again, there's a lot of great teamwork, and then there's teamwork that you would never get to see, especially like the former villains. Like that crazy scientist chick. I forgot her name of it though right now, but I do like her. I do like her personality for some reason.
Scientist chick. I know who you're talking about. Her name kind of escapes.
Yeah. She's crazy, but she's a fun type of crazy. And you got a lot of different teamworks, a lot of chemistry that's forming. It's fast paced, but it's really entertaining. Again, it's the fast pace that's actually welcoming. That's actually
like it's kind of taking what Fairy Tail had, but it's taking it to like a whole nother level.
Right. It's like it knows it's going crazy. It knows it's fast paced, but now it's actually pretty awesome because like we get the series atmosphere. We get what the series are going with. So now we could sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And it has been freaking entertaining. It's not exactly. I mean, it reminisces to Dragon Ball because, like, Dragon Ball is a simple story, but it's more of a spectacle. It's more like just enjoying like what's happening before you. And yeah, there is a story for both of them, but it doesn't need to be a very crazy story. Like, oh, let me think of 18 million theories and stuff like that. I mean, like,
what Death Note and Promised Neverland are doing, it's not like that.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with being complex. But the thing is, those series are slower paced compared to Black Clover. Black Clover is a fast pace. Black Clover is another Dragon Ball. It's pretty much like fast paced, all in your face, but it's damn fun because what you see is really damn exciting. It's like you're reading it for crazy action with fun characters, which they are fun. And you still get the plot, you still get like a little theories coming here and there, but it's nothing that's over aching or over complexity. Because other series like Promise Neverland, Death Note, or any other series, they're more like they're slower paced. They have a different target audience, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. When you have other series that try to do that, well, if you have Black Clover doing like a very complicated story or stuff like that, it will throw you off because you'll be like, why are we slowing down? We want to go fast. I'm not saying it should always be action, but it should always keep up the pace. And that's what Black Clover has been doing, is keeping up the pace. It never slows down. It doesn't bore me. It doesn't feel as rushed, because that's the irony part. That's what makes it better, because it doesn't feel rushed anymore. It feels like it's part of the flow. It feels part of the flow, and it works. And then you have the whole characters getting their shiny moments. A lot of characters get their shiny moments. Every single one is getting their shiny moment. Even the characters that we don't really see fighting, but we know them because we have seen them being in a comic relief routine, but they're still fun to watch. And then when you see them in battle, it's like, hey, that's cool. I don't mind him fighting. I don't mind this character get his character arc. I don't mind him doing more stuff. And the best part is, even when they're done, there's still more to them, and they still keep up with them. So it's not like, well, I got beat down, but at least I beat one enemy. Good day, everyone, and then you just go to sleep. You know, that you don't get that. You don't really get that for many characters, except for one. But that was the joke of the recent chapter. But that's the idea. It was meant to be a joke. But again, a lot of characters keep up with the pace, keep up with the other characters, keep up with the characters that should be overpowered already. You know, you get the idea that Asta and Yuno is like really powerful, but they still need help. They still need assist because even in the end of the day, they still have limitation. They still need friends. They need anybody to help them to cover the aspect that they cannot be good at. Because again, Asta is all close range battle, right? So you need somebody to do far range. You need somebody to do something else. He's straightforward, but that's the idea of his character. That's the idea of his battle skill. He's straightforward warrior type that just swing his sword and just hopefully it lands. But he needs more than that. He probably need like, hey, can you boost me with like some jet fuel? Or can you boost me like pushing you use your water dragon? I'll be inside that dragon and then I can slash through him, like trick that enemy. Something creative, something crazy, but it works. That's what makes it enjoyable. It has every character to keep up the pace. It has every character to be useful in supportive or offensive. And you go back to Noelle, as you said. It's funny to me because Noelle seems like a character that could have been in a shove in the back again, especially when one of the moments where the villain used some hypnosis spell that's supposed to knock out everybody. Only a few.
Oh yeah, that
remain standing
with Noelle.
Yeah, that could have been it. That could have been it, and I would have accepted it. I would be upset, but I would accept it because it's like, oh, you know, you get a lot of series that goes through that moment, like, oh, well, you know, a lot of series does this. It's fine. So at least she had her shiny moment, but instead she's standing up like, oh God, please, please. Please have a great moment next. Have your shiny moment next. You know, I'm hoping that was happening. And then when the next chapter happened, that's where everybody turned their heads like, holy shit, this chapter is awesome. Holy shit, Black Clover is awesome. Holy shit, Noelle is awesome. Best heroine. Now nobody can tell me anything about heroines. Just doesn't matter in shonen. Bullshit. That's a
load of bullshit. Like, look at Noelle, and you tell me that there's something wrong with her because there isn't.
No, it's just an excuse to save face for their favorite series. Like even Dragon Ball doesn't get that effect. The effect of Dragon Ball is the power gap. Honestly speaking, it's not about it's sexist. It's not really sexist. I'll look back. It's not sexist. It's just the power gap. And you know, yeah, it's just a power gap. And when the female character gets made and they're just normal, at least they get funny moments and at least they shine in a different way. Even Bulma still gets shine.
She does.
Come on. So you're telling me female character can do shit because it's shonen? That's a load of crap.
No, look at Nami from One Piece.
Yeah, Nami may not be the fighter, but that's the thing. She's not a fighter. So I'm not programmed to think, when's she going to get a fight? When's she going to get an epic battle? When I ever programmed to think of that? They never told me that. But whatever she does still good. She does stuff well for what she is, for what she represents. You know, it's not like I'm asking a medic to have a combat action that just somehow match up to a warrior. Like, how the hell did that have happened? That's some broken, imbalanced crap. That's like you gotta know your position. That's the thing. You gotta know their position. You gotta know the character position. And if you know their position, then you won't have a hard time with them because you know who they are. You know what they're placed in. It's like if it's a medic, I don't expect action. I expect to be useful in terms of healing and all that other stuff. If you're far range, I expect you to be helpful when it comes to far range. Like, oh, I need you to take them out from far distance. Or maybe I'm in a boss fight and she could help out from a far distance with a sniper. Something useful. Which is why it bothers me when there's this character, oh, I am one of the top tier. I am like the top 10 warrior, fighter, whatever. And then I get demolished easily. It's like, if you're top 10, why you got your ass kicked easily? That would be disappointed because you program me or you told me, I'm sounding like a robot now. You told me, yeah, you just told me that and you sucked. Like, don't do that. I'd rather you told me like you're a rookie and then you just lose. I'll be like, well, you're a rookie. I understand. So with Noelle, you know, she was coming from the ground up of having a bad struggle with her power, and then she finally got a control. Then she started to improve more and more and more, and then you got to this moment where she reminisced her mother armor, which is awesome. And it was awesome that she not only got really strong, but she felt the sensation of how it feels to control her magic, and she felt great. She was happy. So it's like a lot of things comes all boiled down to that moment. It's like, yes, it feels rewarding. You want to see her to not only prove her family wrong or even win her family, but also just feeling the joy that she could finally control her magic and feel the sensation of how blessed it is to have a magic that she has been carrying for all this time and always struggles since childbirth. It's like, yes, it felt great. And then you got a whole teamwork from her brother, which is unexpected as well. Then you got more teamwork. It's just like, damn, this is so awesome. And then you got the recent chapter. Now she's with everybody. It's like, yeah, nobody gets left behind. Nobody's falling asleep there. Nobody's like, go on. I already fought my battle. You remember, or go on. I'll take care of this person, even though we should work together and just beat the shit out of him, and then we could go back together. It's like some shonen trope of ladder. I don't know. Some of them is reasonable. Some of them is dumb. It's like just fight them right now. Just kick his ass. Yeah, both can do it, and then you could just go up the ladder with each other. I don't know. I always find that to be iffy, but shonen do shonen, so I don't know. But yeah, Black Clover knows his place and it understands his place very well. And that's why it has become really enjoyable. That's why the quality went up the notch. And that's why I'm enjoying it more and more than I ever thought I would. So there's my take.
That's exactly. It's funny because you actually kind of took what I was actually going to say myself. So the entire Noelle thing, because I remember some people were like, it just kind of came out of left field. No, it really didn't, because that's kind of something that's been building up for Noelle. Even during like the training arc before, like, the mini training arc right before the tournament happened. Like, you have this one little conversation with like Meliana, like talking to Noelle about like, you're very similar to your mom, and we get that one little panel of her mother, like basically in the same Valkyrie dress that Noelle's in, right? Like, well, she doesn't have it now, but she did, like, like during that point. And just from that one moment, like, you can tell, like, okay, yeah, that's gonna come up eventually, and then you get in this arc, and it's like, whoa, like, damn. And also, Noelle, I'm not gonna say that like all is forgiven because with how he treated her, but you do kind of get an understanding as to why he's doing what he's doing, just being Oni-chan. But it was really nice just to see like him like just coming to start and appreciating her, and that speech was just also really great. And look, I can talk about like a lot of stuff with Osaka. I really could, but there's one more thing we got to talk about. We need to talk about the latest chapter of Black Clover. And if you guys are used to the Tokyo Ghoul podcasts, you all know how the structure usually works out. For those of you that are new, basically whenever a latest chapter comes out for Tokyo Ghoul at the time, we read the chapter and we just kind of break down what's going on and then just kind of give our thoughts along, like as we're breaking down the chapter. It's going to be a similar case here with Black Clover on a pretty similar stance. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Going on to chapter 189. Damn, that's crazy that we're that far in. But we basically see Droid. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's just that it is impressive that we're at 189, and I'm actually looking forward to chapter 200. Yeah, you should know what I'm leading to next, but I'm done. All right, enough low key bash. Let's go with the chapter.
Yeah, let's go with the chapter. We had Droid there, just kind of like thinking back about like the humans, if they could like ever be trusted, and then no, they can't because when this entire because we kind of started off with a flashback to an extent, but then we see this panel of like Asta taking yeah, kind of more like taking out Droid, and I want to is it Ekra or is it Urka? Like I don't remember the exact name, but I think they're gonna bring it up right now. And he's
Hmm.
like, oh, he got me, and then you see Noelle, you see Zora there in the corner, which, by the way, I know it's not exactly like that, okay? But his mask kind of looks like the Ken Kaneki mask. And I remember I was, when he first came up, I was like, yo, is that Ken Kaneki? I'm like, yo, welcome to Black Clover, man.
Oh, so that's what you meant. I was under the impression you meant like, oh, he's gonna voice act. The Kaneki voice actor is gonna voice act, and I'm like, really? I thought that's what you meant, because I know the anime is up to the point where Zoro's about to get introduced, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah,
if the voice actor for Kaneki does voice over, that'd be perfect. Not gonna lie, that'd be great.
I do mask character only. No, not really. He's gonna do the protagonist for the other series, but still, would be funny if he is them.
So yeah, droids are on the ground, and Ass is like holding over his sword. He's like a human, and then we get the flashback, the flashback of like when the humans attacked, and it's actually kind of interesting because when this entire thing is going down, it's like, okay, the power of a human magical artifact. It's marvelous, and we find out that this the entire invasion against the elves, and why they want revenge against the humans. We find it out here. It is essentially the royals. They're the ones that started the invasion. They're like, oh hey, look at this. The elves' magic is now ours. And they talk about how like the princess is a lost cause. She's carrying their child. Talking about Licht, and how she's kind of like unfit to be royalty, let alone being human. It's unthinkable that someone not human could have powerful magic. It's terrifying to even think that we could be walking around with the likes of that. Royalty or not, her foolish mistakes must be met with punishment. We human royalty. I mean, I guess I also just kind of explained why the world are kind of like put on such a pedestal is because of this. Shall become gods upon this earth, and thus cue in the cliche laughter that we usually get. And then we get text, not like Hunter x Hunter text where like pages of well, not pages upon pages, but
as a novel of his own kind.
yes. Well, it's not that approach, but I can imagine someone like, these two panels. I'm like, it's two panels, guys. Calm down. It's like the faces of those humans, even if I die here, I'll never be able to forget them. The faces of ecstasy and rapture as I shook and spasmed in fear and irrational anger for their own selfish desires. They kill their allies as they're rotten. Corrupt brains rationalized it all in some convenient way for themselves with a despicable base laughter. How are they able to do something like this? I simply can't comprehend, and I simply can't forgive it. It makes me want to puke. Blacking out with rage, my heart runs wicked. If I don't tear everything they are to the ground, I'll never feel whole again. Disgusting, repulsive humans. But that is not who they are. I'm sorry, everyone. Looking at it like that, like it really made me like feel something for the elves. Like I've kind of been wondering why that's been the case, and we've gotten a couple answers like here and there when it comes to the elves. This was kind of like me for like thinking about it now in retrospect and just going like, wow, like because at first you're like, well, okay, they are invading the Clover Kingdom and they're doing all this stuff. What's the motivation though? And we're getting it with Detroit. I was kind of like thinking back, well, he remembers what the humans did, and now he's looking at these humans. They're like, but that's they're not the same. And he's apologizing to everyone, basically all the other elves, all the other reincarnated elves, and just kind of saying it won't be long before my wicked heart rages out of control again, and I lose myself to the anger. Do with me as you will. And he says, Ekra, there we go. I'm sorry. And she's like, it's okay. I want to stay by our gentle side forever. And I'm not gonna lie, like this part was actually just kind of sad because you got Asta there, and he's like, I'm sorry, but I have to take my friends back. Like this will cancel the forbidden spell as well. Make it act like it never
Oh
happened.
wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because I know the next part is actually pretty important, but I just want to comment on this whole scenario with the whole Asta the whole elves being
Yeah,
attacked by the royal kingdom
I
thing.
was just about to ask on your thoughts about that. So go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I thought that Revelation is actually pretty good. Like, I was always under the impression that the elves weren't bad. They were just sucked by vengeance, especially once they got their bodies, so to say. Not would say back, but more like they finally got a body and they finally have an opportunity to take everything back for them. But like some are like that went overboard and pretty much look like a bona fide villain, and some are like still hell bent on vengeance. It's like you're done. You all deserve to die and stuff like that. So it never gave me an impression like, oh, we're all villains. We're all villains. Ah, ha, ha. I hate everything, but I also love destroy things. Ha ha. There's never get that impression. It always give me an impression of a lot of mixed feelings from each of the elves' character. So when a flashback happens, it's like, okay, I could believe this. I believe everything about like why the elves would be this upset. But not only upset, but like it makes me more furious on the whole royalty people folks. Now we know they really are scums. I mean, yeah, we see good people as well, but the fact that the elves believe royalty equals all humans and it has scarred them for this long, it sucks because it's like that. It's just one faction. It's one class called the royalty. They're a piece of crap. It reminds me of One Piece, where with Luffy's flashback, Luffy, he was pretty much living under the poor circumstance, but the his orphan bro, well, not orphan brother, but the other brother, you want to say, lives in a rich noble family, but they're scumbags. They're scumbags through and through. Every one of them. And people
That's
would
a
think
pretty good
harshly.
point, actually.
Right. So they all think harshly because they're scumbags, and rightfully so, because of everything what they just said in this very panel. But the whole princess, the fact they have the nerve to kill her off, because they pretty much hinted heavily they killed the princess off just because of the royalty bullshit. And it sucks. And it's really upsetting me. Like, damn, now I want them to get their ass kicked. But it's interesting because now we know they're the one that consumed that consumed the mana from the elf, which begs the question. That means the royalty was only was stronger. It was the reason why they're really strong is because of that moment. So if that's the case, then royalty could have been just like strong, but now they're even more stronger because they took the elves mana back then. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
So what does imply to pretty much to Noelle as well? Like when am I should I expect for her? Should I expect something a little bit danger or something a little cautionary? But I don't know. It could be just a one-time absorption, but it's definitely something to consider that the royalty did in fact take the power, and I guess you could say this could be potentially a next plot line to consider in the future. If we do, I mean, like it's hard. I know a lot of people thinking like, are we ended the series because we have this big main story? It's hard to say. I still say no. It's still hard to say because there's a lot of other plot including the other kingdoms that's not in just here, the Clover Kingdom. It has to be more. It has to address
Oh yeah,
more of the other
like
kingdom
I'm
with other.
pretty sure there's probably got to be like a Spades kingdom and a Hearts kingdom. Like a Diamond kingdom's already established, and if we're going by like the rules of the deck of cards, there's usually like four suites. You got
Right.
the clubs, you've got the diamonds, spades, and then obviously the hearts.
Right. So like considering that, and you gotta remember, Julius is dead now. So they lost the emperor, a really strong one,
And
no
they
less.
don't know that yet. That's the crazy thing.
They don't know. Yeah, once it's discovered, once everything, this whole climax comes through, once everything is taken care of, good or bad, they're gonna be vulnerable, a lot vulnerable. Not only they don't have the emperor, yeah, they still have the king, but the king is just there. He's a crap anyway.
He
But
is, yeah.
the
Like
emperor is,
he didn't do shit. It's like when he got
yeah,
the spot, I was like, wow. That's
yeah. It's like, so like now, so once the aftermath happened, we don't know what's the end result, but we already know Julius is dead, so that's a huge weakening blow for them. It depends what happened to Vermilion. He's not going to be around because he's the bad guy. Technically not really, but yes and no. I don't know. It's hard. It's kind of complicated, which makes it a cool twist in the sense that, yeah, a lot of people point at him to be the villain, but it has a little bit more meat into it instead of like, I'm the villain, ha ha ha. It's more like I have two sides of the coin. I'm actually a two coin, not two side of the coin, meaning like there's two
with the Golden
person,
Dawn
two
leader,
people.
right? What was it? Ponchits, I think is his name.
Yeah, I think yeah, something like that. Yeah, I had to look back for that one. But yeah, the point is, and what I'm saying is that there's a lot of circumstance that you have to consider. Like, damn, everything is going bad for this kingdom. So once the aftermath happened, and once the other kingdom finds out, they're gonna evade. They're gonna probably evade, or they'll probably do something that will cause a lot of more mayhem. And who knows? Maybe for all we know, maybe there will be more than one kingdom that would decided to invade, and that would be a bad time. Especially when everybody will be exhausted after this whole battle is over. So anything can happen. Again, hardest I can't say the series is going to end because of this arc. It is a big arc, but every series has a one big defining arc, and this is among one of them. And this one is pretty huge because it does leave out a lot of character development and a lot of interesting new plot points, including the whole royalty taking the elves' magic and to give us a reason why the elves is more not so black, but more in a gray area. It depends on how the character takes the idea of taking a human and having their vengeance. So you got this the sad part about this one, other ones are more vengeance and they had to, and when they lose, they lose. But this one is more sympathetic because he does want it to live, and you could understand where his anger coming from. And it speaks out for other characters. It just depends how you react. Again, you can go for vengeance, but it depends how much of a level you into it. Are you into it because you just don't like them, or you into it because it drives you insane that you really become a something that you hate to begin with? And when they're about to go away, it's rather sad because they had a chance to pretty much live again, but now they're about to go away, and then he's even sadder with Asta saying like I'm sorry. It's just like he has no choice because it's either one way or another. Either leave them as it is and give them the life they deserve, or take them out and get his friend back. But of course, you gotta choose the getting a friend back because that's their friends, and of course that's their body to begin with. So it's really like you're stealing a person's body. You don't own this property in a sense.
No, yeah,
But
you're more like
but
spawned
it,
it.
right, but it's still sad because again, he could understand their struggles. He could understand they really are not 100% villains or anything like that. He understand that he see another family within them, but again, it doesn't belong to them. Their time was up, and it sucks. Their time was up, but it's just the way how it is. It's just something that needs to be done. It sucks, but what can he do? So I thought that was pretty a really nice send off for the character for those two, and then like a way how to draw a connection of a gray area more so than just leave the elves in the dark area and make them look like the the most villainy thing, which they're not. Now we get to this. Yeah. So now we get to this interesting plot point that I'll leave you to read next.
Yeah, so basically what ends up happening here is that Asta is able to free them, but right before Joy ends up fading away, and it's actually kind of interesting, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I kind of thought back to My Hero Academia, so similarly to this, because Joy's like, oh, for such a convenient power that can make it like nothing ever happened in the first place. Do you think it exists? And this is the part I was bringing up because he says, but the price for using such a power must always be paid in the end, always. If nothing else, engraved is deep upon your heart, human. I want to get your opinion on this. So, what do you think that means? Because I feel like that's setting up something for the future.
It is strange. That the one thing that I always find is strange is like, I remember he took that sword. How you say his name? The main villain? I never know. I don't remember how you pronounce
I
it.
just call him Lit. That's what I call him.
Lit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta see the anime again to find out. All
Yeah.
right, so I'm gonna just go by your name. Lit. All right. It is strange because I remember early on, he fought against Asta and Yuno. And he took that sword one time and he was like kicking ass with it. It's like some Voltron season 1 finale. Like, what the hell is happening? Or is it season 2? All I know is like you see
I think it
somebody
was
that's
both.
already met. Yeah. All I know is you start to see somebody carrying a weapon that should be the protagonist's property. And yet when he carries it and master it in a single minute, it's like very strange. Even though it is originally belongs to them, which again connects to Voltron, what I meant. But it is strange still because it's like he has a convenient power that takes away the elves, removing the elves from the body. But why he didn't keep that sword? Why he just didn't take that sword? Like, well, okay, let me keep that sword. Let me take that sword away from you, Asta. But instead, he just technically gave it back in a sense. So it just feels very convenient that he has a power that is like, okay, I have a power to remove the souls from the body. But why he has such as why Asta's carrying that? Why lit why lit is letting him doing all of this easily? It feels like there's some other things that we're unaware of. It feels like there's one plan that we're missing or we're not told yet.
I definitely feel like that's the
It's,
case too. Something feels kind of off about that.
yeah, it's not something that's just as easy as, well, I give everybody their chance to come back to life. Yay, elves, we're going back. I mean, maybe that's one of it, but there's also one more thing, and it's just not being said. It's being hidden, but we don't know what exactly is it. Honestly, I don't know what is it either, because especially the fact that, like, yeah, the elves came back, but what is more to it? It's just like coming back. I mean, that's fine, that is cool and all, but it feels like there should be one more thing that makes everything sense in terms of his motivation and his path, his end game. What is it exactly? And I don't think it would be wiping half the population, but still, what is his end game? So,
Yeah, like
I,
go full Thanos, just be like snap fingers, like there you go. Half the magic
you
nuts
should
are
aim
gone.
for the
Oh,
head. But yeah, it's strange. What's your take then?
I don't know. Like I'm kind of stuck on that myself, but I think it's definitely gonna involve Asta in a lot of ways, and I personally think it might be something not exactly leading him down a dark path per se, but I feel like he's gonna get into a situation where things get like really, really shaky. Not like to the level of Tokyo Ghoul, but like say maybe along the lines of like Luffy during Marineford. Somewhere along those lines is what is kind of what I'm predicting, but that's just my stance on it. Like he'll probably reach a point like that because again, like he's talking about like like there's always a price for using such a power, and like when the time comes, it's like I forget the term, but you know what it is. It's like when the time comes, like the due must be paid, or something along those lines. Like there's a specific saying, and I know I'm messing up the words, but it's something along those lines. I think another moment again, Black Clover is not Death Note, but I remember specifically in Death Note, like when the whole Ryukin Light conversation was happening, and he mentioned that, like, like at some point you are gonna have to go. I will be the one to do that. And lo and behold, like if you haven't watched Death Note, like what are you doing? Go check that out too. It's a good show, good anime, good manga, whatever. But like when you hear that, it's like, okay, that's gonna build up to something crazy when that does take place. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. Is like it's kind of setting up for something not exactly going too well for Rasta. But that's just my approach. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, perhaps it would be a matter of time. Maybe the time will happen very soon that we expect it. It could have been the climax of the entire arc, which pretty much go against Lich, but we'll see. I say I'll give it up to that point that the time, whatever that cryptic words he said would come in play. That's my guess.
We just gotta wait and see. And kind of just going from there. Asta's like, yeah, I'll never forget about you all. To which we see Ghosh waking up to, of course, Gray and Gordon. And, like the reactions from
That's
Gordon.
there.
I know.
I
saw the stare and I was just like, wow. I'm like, if that's the first thing I wake up, I would be like, nope, cover the sheets again. I'm like, that is not what I want to look at. And then you got Gray, who was like, oh, he's like, finally. Which, we didn't really touch on this, but the whole revelation about Gray being a girl, let alone just being shy about herself, that's very fascinating. Not gonna lie.
That remind me of that revelation back with the what chapter was it? I was like, I kind of want to check. You could keep going. I'll check it quickly.
Okay. That's happening. Like when he does wake up, like he accidentally does knock Gray on the head, and she's like, "Ow, my head!" And Gordon, like this moment was like, "Are you okay?" Asta there with Marie, and Ghosh is like, "Marie," and she's like, "I'm so glad that none of you got hurt." And Asta's like, "Yeah, I'm glad you and Ghosh are safe as well." And Ghosh, again, not saying anything at first, but then he's like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Well, as long as you're safe, then everything's fine, isn't it? You're about to die for the sake of someone else. Our precious base has been smashed to pieces, which, kind of sucks, but damn. I never think about anyone else but Marie and myself. If Marie and I are saved, then that's fine. We only ever join the Black Bulls for ourselves. I never had any intent of getting all buddy-buddy with a lot of you to begin with. After all, from the bottom of my heart, I never trusted a single one of you. And then Marie's like, brother. And, yeah, look, I'll say this. Of all the Black Bull characters, like, Ghosh was definitely like one of those characters where I was like, I don't hate him, but he is kind of, like,
Weird.
weird. That's one way to put it, yeah. He's definitely weird.
But, yeah, well, it's funny. It is funny with the latest anime episode. I forgot what episode we're in, but we're in the latest episode.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. No, actually, it's not the latest because I remember the latest episode was more of a recap. But the second latest episode, what I remember is that we discover that the way the reason why he bleeds is because he's very caring of a person. So it's not like, oh, I'm very obsessed. I know a lot of people are disturbed by that, like obsessed with the little sister. Even if the explanation is still creepy, but that's the point. But the fact is, he actually bleeds because he cares about the person so much. So the fact he cares about Asta so much, he bleeds, and that was the reason. So I was like, oh, okay. So he bleeds because he cared too much. Kind of still weird, but
Yeah,
Prefer more
I
than
remember at first I was
I
like, okay,
prefer
so
more
he's,
than
he's got a sister complex.
yeah,
Uh,
siscon as they call.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah. But,
okay,
I just yeah, exactly. I just remember the chapter. It was 185 with Dorothy. That part made me laugh still. With the
oh
whole,
yeah,
like, Dorothy, because Dorothy always present the character as, like, a very quiet, not really shy, but very spooky, very creepy, like, uh-oh. She's basically not a yandere, but it's, like, one of those type of characters, like, soft-spoken, but you could tell she's really damn intimidating just because of her words, her tone, and then her actions just completes everything. So when Dorothy the real version came out in a illusion way, ironically, so it was just hilarious because I'm like, well, now it's like an even squad. So it's like, oh, you summoned the real me. Well, good job, Black Booze. Leave the rest to me. Like, what the hell? It's like she's all peppy. I'm like, okay, that threw me off a lot because because again, it gave me that impression she's that type of character that I mentioned. But instead, she's like very cheerful, very idolish characteristic. I'm like, what the hell?
yeah,
It was
right.
like,
I was like, what?
yeah, and it's funny how they broke the fourth wall. It's like, oh my gosh, she's like, yeah, like, she could be like she could be like, I could be the big sister or something like that. So wait, I'm confused. How old are you? It's like I'm 27. Like what? 27? It's bull crap. Somebody's trying to steal my character of a lolly character who's older than me. I was like, did she just broke the fourth wall?
Like I was sitting there
How
going, like,
dare
wait,
she?
did Gintoki come in and just say you can use this for the chapter? That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. It was just like one funny reaction after another. But that whole one double page of great art, oh, forget about it. I was like, damn, I don't know how it's like, see, I can understand he gets tired in terms of drawing because when he draws, he really freaking draws. It's like,
He does.
holy crap. Like I'm always looking at that double page where two Thors are fighting each other, and that double page where every fantasy come to life. It's just freaking crazy, but so magnificent at the same time. But yeah, I really dig that chapter too. So going back to the latest chapter with the whole sister complex, and yet the sister still cares about Asta more than him. Sad. So there's that. Something never changed. But one thing does change is Coach is really respectful to his friends. And I did like how he like thought maybe he should have actually just remained dead and preferred the other guys because the other guys were more sympathetic, more deserving in a way. But of course, Black Bulls don't think that way because they're
No.
his friends. That's one thing it's funny because like I understand like I understand like some people would say like they don't go by friendship power, which is more or less true. I mean, they don't rely too much saying like I'm not kama my friendship,
Oh no. They don't do that at
Nasu
all.
punch friendship. They don't they do the core of the story is about friends. That's definitely about friendship, but it's never really used too much of a power buff in terms of like, oh, I gotta think about my friends. My friends are counting on me, and then you just somehow gain tenfold of your power that you used to have. It's not like that in Black Clover, but Black Clover does mention friendship, but that's fine because it is shonen. It is the core of the series. I understand it. It's the same thing with One Piece. One Piece, you talk about friends, but they don't really talk too much to make it as a core power up. They don't make it as a power up thing. Like I must say friendship. If I say friendship, then I'll probably gain like 10 plus if my power to side. And once I do, I can win the fight. It's not like that. With Black Clover, again, you're gonna hear a lot of friendship speech, but that's fine because at least it's not hindering the battle aspect. The battle aspect is always rely on the teamwork, which is friendship as well, but is more understandable because you're seeing it yourself. You're seeing the action yourself. You're seeing how it's being done. You're seeing how they overcome the odds or win the odds, whatever. The point is, you see it yourself. It's like the whole idea of show don't tell is not doesn't exist in this series. If not, if it does, it's very rare. That's what makes it interesting about the series, because it actually relies on teamwork while keeping the core of friendship. And then when they talk about friendship, and that's fine. That's how it is.
And like each time, like when they do get into an encounter, like I remember like when they fought Veto in the underwater temple arc, like the how like the type of strategy they use to take him down, like in that particular fight, and then seeing how they're able to take down Droid and Ekra, like it's completely different, and it makes it feel refreshing because you're not really relying on like the same tactics over and over again. Like it's always different, and I think that's something Tabata is able to do very, very well, and I really appreciate that about Black Clover. I think for me, maybe the first time, but yeah, like it's kind of where I really started to find like some respect for Ghost, especially like with everything he had to say, and then just like getting everyone's reaction, like the fact that like Asta, Gray, and Gordon like just tackled him, like that part to me was just kind of amusing. And he's like, "Get off me, you ratty reject!" He's like, "Oh, come on, just a little." And Gray's like, "I'm so embarrassed." And Gordon's like, we are on a team now, aren't we?" And he's like, "What?" And then you got Charmy dropping in with her sheep, with Luck, and I think no, Magna's not there, but pretty much everyone. And then Vanessa too. And they're like, "Welcome back, everyone." And they're like, "Oh, Ghost is back. Anyway, eat this." Like, don't go stuffing food into people's mouths, Five Head. Like, oh. Like, it's magic food that restores your mana. Now be grateful and eat up. Oh, it's delicious. That crazy witch, what's she doing here? Obviously referring to the scientist chick. That doesn't have any glasses right now. They go, "Yeah, keep away from Mary." It's funny enough. And Lux, more importantly, now that we've both been possessed, we're like best buds right now. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, that's like the strangest logic. Hey, I got possessed. You got possessed. How about we're great friends now, aren't we?
I'm like, I don't know if I should take that as a compliment, but sure.
Yeah, that's like saying, "Hey, you just had a heart attack. I had a heart attack. I was that close to die. We're friends, aren't we?" I'm like, what? What logic is that?
Seriously.
Like,
it's like, what is this? And then of course you have like
God.
Noelle and Zora just like on a broom, and they're like, these guys are the most easygoing bunch ever. And then he's like, "Oh, I slipped," and I'm like,
yeah,
really?
it's like that part was funny. He was like, "Oh, I slipped." I'm like, "Oh, come on, that was so on purpose." I'm like, "Really? Oh, I slipped."
I know, and like Noel's not exactly like the broom type, so of course when he slips, it's like, shit, why?
Yeah.
And then you have like Asa saying like, "Oh, like Noelle and Zora dropped in too." It's like, and he's like, "What the hell was that for?" And she's like, "Oh, it's not like we were jealous of watching you having fun or anything." And
You
then
want to be part of it.
you're right.
I was like, "Oh my god." It's like it couldn't fly over. Nope. Oh, I slip.
They could have. And then Magna's there, just like, yeah, like I don't give a crap about that. You're crushing me. Get off. And of course, no, I was like, "I'm royalty, You should be happy to be stepped on by me." I'm like,
that logic. Yeah, the logic is so crazy. It's just hilarious.
seriously. And he's like, "I'm your senior," and Ass is like, "Quick, Charmy, Henry, food, please." He's like, "You're hungry?" And he's like, "Starving." We get this awesome panel. I mean, a very, very awesome panel. Like all the Black Bulls, well, all the ones that are present there. And Ass is like, "All right, Black Bulls, we're back together again. Want to recover? We're going in after Captain Yami." And the final panel is just funny because we see Finroll there, and he's just like, "If you keep getting close, sneaky touches on Mary, I'll kill you."
He's getting that Yancho treatment.
Right. He's like, "Somehow I feel like I missed on joining in on something."
Oh shoot! It was funny because I didn't even think. The sad part is I didn't even think about him. I was like, well, the black bulls are black. I was like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty damn cool. Oh, I'm excited for the next chapter. And then I'm reading the last panel, like, oh shit, I forgot about him. I was like, oh yeah, he's knocked out. That's right.
It's kind of funny because I know like in the water temple like they went off to the temple, but they forgot to bring Ghost. No, they forgot to bring Gordon with them. So when they came back, and he was like, "Yeah, I was already, but you guys already." I'm like I feel like it's gonna happen at some point. Like, they're gonna forget one character. It's like you forgot.
Why am I being neglected?
I know. And that's where we end up the chapter. Kind of humorous, if you ask me, but wow, like there's a lot that can be. I mean, we already kind of like just kind of basically discussed our thoughts when it came to the chapter, but it was definitely not too crazy of a chapter, but it was definitely something for sure. Like
Mhm.
especially like just like getting the backstory on like Jordan, like what exactly happened like all those years ago with the human royalty, and then of course getting like his final saying about like okay what could it be that he's implying about Asta and the sword, and then this nice little moment for Gauche, and then now the Black Bulls are like going over to where Yami is after they're rejuvenated. It does a lot where you're like, man, I cannot wait to see what happens next. Which I gotta ask Sparta, what do you think is gonna happen like in the coming chapter?
Let's see. According to the setup, if I remember correctly, I guess we might go back to where Yami is doing right now, or where he's at right now. Maybe he's close to Lich. Hopefully that'll be the case. And
Yeah,
and
it
I show
wasn't
our
like Jack the
film.
Ripper with them too, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
he was with him as well. I do believe we're gonna get a lot of big plot development in the upcoming chapter. Now that we're taking care of a lot of things, and they got all of the Black Bulls minus Finro, but who knows? He'd be Yamcha for the rest of the arc now. But we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Poor
since they got
Finral,
everybody
man.
back, it's already met. He's all the way with his bro, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, it's actually kind of true.
He's still knocked out. Well, kind of knocked out. He just consciously woke up and he's like, huh, see, it feels like I'm missing out something interesting. But yeah, like the fact they're all back together, well, again, minus one. And now they're gonna go after Yami once they recover, which they're gonna recover in about like what, a chapter or two. And so we go from there. I guess we're gonna focus back to Yami and see where he's at, how close he's to Lich, or where he's at right now. Maybe he has to deal with the other guys, the original three of bodyguards of Lich. That's all I can think right now because that's the only path we have left right now,
Yeah,
unless we expect
honestly.
more formation from other characters, especially like
Yeah, because the
like
Silva
other
family
characters.
already took out like their side of the spectrum too, and that's when when Noel like had massive power up, which was great. But like a lot of stuff got taken care of. Like even from Mimosa's end, even though like we haven't seen. I mean, she had her shining moment too a little earlier on, which was great. And that's something I also want to address with Black Clover is that like every time we see someone, like we're never sitting there going like, oh, like who's that character again? Because we see them, if not every arc, like pretty much like pretty frequently, and we see like like what they're able to accomplish, and just based on that, I'm just sitting here going like wow, like if you compare Mimosa to where she was, say, like the dungeon arc, where she is now, like obviously lots happened. Like even with Klaus, like I remember for Klaus, like he was there and he was like, oh, like he's just a commoner, like they don't mean shit. To where now he's like, yo, Asta, and like every time Asta gets hurt, like, it's like, are you okay? I'm like, wow, like you, like talk about a total shift in character, especially like after
Yeah, I know, right?
after you meet up in the royal capital arc. I'm like, That was fast. Like what?
uh,
I mean, the only thing I can really think of as far as predictions, not just for next chapter, but just in general, is the entire Magic Emperor situation. I mean, look, Julius is not gonna get resurrected. Well, we all know that. There's no way he should be. So the fact that he's dead, who do you think is the perfect candidate to being the next Magic Emperor? Yami, Fuegoleon, since he's finally awake now, or
yeah, I know, right? That's
or
true. We're
Fuegoleon's
Salamander,
sister?
no, for us.
Yeah, but like, what do you think? Like, who do you think like among the three, or if you feel like there's more candidates, who do you feel is the best person to succeed Julius as the Magic Emperor?
I mean, I would imagine that Yami would be preferable one, but I don't. I do think he's not gonna take that role and probably give it to someone else. Like it's proven that Yami is pretty damn powerful, like seriously powerful, like good enough to be the next Magic Emperor, if anything. But I feel like he might end up declining it for unknown reason, or more probably a easy reason to just stick with the Black Bulls as he's comfortable with. But you never know. Maybe he was something. If he does something, then that's. I mean, like me again. I would have him be the Magic Emperor because it seems like he is proven to be really that powerful. But if it won't be him to due to reasons, like I said, it could be just like don't want to be be part of that position.
Yeah, like you bring a pretty interesting point about Yami. Like I could see him taking it, but I don't feel like he would be the type of character that would take that approach. And I think, like you said, like he would just rather stick around with the Black Bulls because he feels more comfortable with it. And if it's not Yami, I think Fuegoleon might be the second best candidate to take that spot.
Who?
Um,
Who?
Leo's brother.
Oh yeah, actually, he would be the perfect spot if anything. I mean, he's back now, right?
Yeah,
So he's back. He has technically a power up.
that's
Um,
true. He does have a power up.
yeah, technically speaking. I mean, again, it cannot be Vangus because he is the bad guy. Technically,
Yeah,
hard to explain. So Vermilion, would be a good choice. Definitely a good choice. I'll say him. I like this character. I'm not sure about Nozo Silva, because he's injured really bad, right?
yeah, he is. I
Yeah,
almost thought he was
so I
actually
feel like
dead. Like when the second Nozel got stabbed, I was like, "Oh no, him too."
I would, yeah, right. I would like the female one, the female Vermilion. I can't pronounce her first name because I thought she was awesome. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Fuegoleon's sister, right? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, she's the first daughter of the
Yeah,
Vermilion house.
she'd be cool too. I
She's
could
like,
like see her being
yeah, she
her.
was, yeah, like the way how she took on like three enemies. I think it was like three or four. I think it was three. But she was just tanking
That
them.
was
Like, damn,
crazy
she's
though
just too
too.
much. She was like straight up badass. I was like, holy shit. Oh shoot. But yeah, I would like her to be part of it, but I do think it might end up being her the brother instead, which is fine because I do like him as well. And I was happy that he came back. Yeah, I mean, okay, so the three candidates I could see happening: Yami, Vermilion, the Fogalian,
Hmm.
or Nozo. Depends on his condition.
Yeah, I could
Those are
see
my
that.
top three candidates I could see happening.
Yeah, like there's no way Jack the Ripper's gonna do it. I know that much.
Ew.
It'd be kind of ironic too.
Ew,
It's like
no.
Jack the Ripper, the new match. I'm like, huh?
No, no. I think everybody will. I think it will be like all hell break loose, and they're like, "Okay, we're done. This kingdom is over."
Right? It's like Frank Mantis. Oh no.
Praise the sun down. For the love of God, for the humanity. But yeah, no, I don't think it would be him. I mean,
No.
if it is him, well, shit. But I don't think it would be him. Again, I feel like Yami might be. pick first, or maybe he'll be disregarded because yeah, I'm a black bull, so how low rent. Even though that'd be bull crap, but you know how they are. See
Yeah,
how I mean, like Nozo did, finally mature up and acknowledge about Noel, as well as acknowledge why that he had a problem with her, which I could understand. Though it's still dickish of him to do that, but he has a lot of work to do for redemption. So at
he
least
will.
that's ongoing, and that's cool to see a brother assembly to finally to make up for his bad deeds. I wish the same could be said for the others, but time will tell for them. But at least he's trying to make it up for it, so I'll forgive him. I'll give him a chance of
Yeah,
redemption.
like it's a good starting point for redemption for
Yeah,
Naruto. I can never
no,
say that.
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, I'm all for that. The only question is who's gonna take over? Again, I have no idea. My best guess was either Yami, Fogolian, or Nozo. But that's my top three choices.
I can definitely say like specifically like after the Sark ends that we probably will get a time skip. I feel like that's got to happen after the Sark.
Like how many months, years? It
Let's
could be
see.
like just a couple of months, really.
You think it'll just be
It
a
needs
couple
to be like,
months?
I started 18 years old. Mada, mada. I don't think it needs to be doing that. I, don't, I don't think it's necessary to go that much of a time skip. If anything, it just has to go a little of time skip to say, look, we're trying to rebuild everything that's happened to the kingdom. Then stump
Kind of like
and
with
other
what
things.
happened in Naruto with like the after the Konoha invasion. Like
Yes.
not in part two. I'm talking about like from part one.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly like that one. Like after the loss of Hokage,
hmm
they had to fill in the boat before they find out that they have no Hokage, and then a lot of wars could come through. For it's the same thing for this situation. Like I said, they lost a magic emperor. They need a replacement as soon as possible because now they're vulnerable. Now they're seen as somebody that can be taken down, especially after everybody has gone through hell. Nozo, depending on his condition, he's really damaged. The last time we saw him, and then everyone else is still damaged, and then the people who comes back to life, they still probably haven't woken up from being controlled by elves. So it's like a lot of situation that now they seem in a very vulnerable spot that anybody who invades can take them down. Well, not 100% easily, but it will be like in a normal difficulty, no longer in a very expert. There's nothing like that anymore because they lost a lot of manpower, firepower, and all that.
If you consider like the casualty rate that the Clover Kingdom is in right now, I mean, again, taking down like if you're looking at it as like a chess piece, like the king is already down. So usually in a chess game, if like king's down, it's like okay, game over. But in this case, it's like, well, where do we go from here? And there's a lot of room for the series in terms of like where you can take it. But I'm trying to think if there's like anything else we can talk about because I feel like we pretty much like practically covered everything. Unless I'm
Yeah,
missing
we
something.
pretty well. That's I think that's really about it for now. To the next chapter, we're pretty much gonna have a lot of things to talk about since now that the battle with Gulch is over, now we can see what the next plot development will lead to. So yeah, I think it's about enough that we have said for this chapter.
Definitely. And
But yeah, oh, I'm
sorry,
sorry.
go on. Do you have anything you want to add on?
Oh, no, I'm just saying my overall thoughts. I thought the chapter was pretty good. It was enjoyable. I thought it was neat, a nice breakaway from like all action pace and have that one sympathetic moment, which I actually totally buy it. Because again, I never seen the elves as a 100% evil, dark, black side or anything like that. Instead, it's more of a gray area, which is understandable. And it's interesting to know about the royalty being the one that's behind the whole stealing the mana all this time, and now it makes you wonder where we go with this kind of development. Does it mean that loyalty are to blame for a lot of things, or does that mean we're gonna learn more about them? Especially the fact they're the one that technically put an end to the princess, which is pretty damn messed up.
And that's a
But
very interesting direction you could really take the series just based on that concept alone, just from what we learned in the chapter.
exactly. So it's like greed really is the problem of every mankind, especially when it comes to magic. Elves have basically like that trope would say, insert name, didn't do anything wrong or something like that. I forgot how the meme works, but pretty much elves didn't do anything wrong. Or they did, or well, yeah, they're doing their stuff wrong by taking over their bodies that's not belong to them. But you could understand where they're coming from, especially they didn't have the chance. Now, after they got betrayed by a human, which I think there should be more of that soon, hopefully, because that part of the story needs to be addressed 100% clear. But I think we're gonna get that in this arc eventually. But
And
yeah, I thought the chapter was pretty good because of that. A neat flashback that really got me more interested of the backstory of the whole elf's downfall. And I do like the whole reunion of the Black Bulls, how they all come together, which was entertaining, funny, and just lighthearted. I just like the whole scene where everybody's like finally back together. And again, this is the family that I actually buy into. Like, yeah, they're like cool people. It's not like one of those series where you start to see support character, side character getting together with the main character, and it's like, huh, now you're doing this. And I'm not pointing out the series that's going on right now. I'm actually pointing out the series that has ended a long time ago, but that's a different story once more. So yeah. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of credibility to believe in. And I believe every single part of it in this chapter. And it was just amusing to see how everybody got together, even if one has to slip in order to get to get with the crowd.
we're
And
not going to let that
everybody
die.
well, it was
It's
like
very
Zoro was
funny.
like, they're so stupid down there. They all like idiots. Oh, what the hell? like idiots? Well, shit. I'm part of it too then. Slip. And yeah, that was just hilarious. So yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. It's nice to see them all back together, except for Finro, but he's Yamcha, so what do you expect? I'm look, I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I'm looking forward to the next chapter due to the development, the possibilities, and hopefully we get to see more of Yami.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. And like, if I had to give my rating on there, I can usually give these things in live reactions. Let's end them doing Black Clover this way; it'd be more fun. I gave the rating on Tumblr, which is usually where I make my posts on like the chapters. Don't quote me on this, but I remember it's between either like a great or a great plus. That's kind of where my rating stands right now when it comes to this particular chapter. And kind of going off from what you said again, right? Before we cut off, like again, it's very impressive just seeing Black Clover right now because we are close to 200 chapters, and we said this earlier, but like it has definitely evolved a lot from where it first started, and that's something I really appreciate about Yuki Tabata and what he's been able to do with this particular series. And aside from that, guys, that is pretty much it. Sparta, it was really great having you on board, like especially coming off from the Tokyo Ghoul podcast. Because I remember going off from there, you and I were kind of just talking about like, all right, so we know Tokyo Ghoul done, but we're gonna have to come back for like another series, like like eventually. And when we were talking about it, I said, well, we could potentially do Black Clover Darkest Down, but I never really thought that we were gonna come back like this soon.
That's true. I mean, like he said, we had two choices. Here is either Doctor Stone or Black Clover. And while Doctor Stone is a really good choice as well, the fact is, it's somewhat still early. You know, it has a lot of legs to go walk with. I don't even know if I said that right, but the point is, it's still early to talk about Doctor Stone like a something to be like a weekly basis podcast. That's the focus we're going with. And again, it's an enjoyable series. I do recommend for anybody to try it out. If you haven't tried it, it's a different take. It's not supposed to be an all action, fast paced battle thing. It's more of like a relaxed, somewhat slice of life in some way, but it's more of an adventure, if anything, to be honest. And it has a lot of fun creativity with science, whether it's believable or not. But the best part of the series is the heart of the character, especially when it comes to creating a scientific technology, stuff that you see and stuff like how that you are familiar with in current time, but they use it, but they had to invent it again with the Stone Age, pun intended. So it's interesting. It's an interesting.
I just
Hey, that's
caught
what it
right.
is. It's an interesting concept, and is going so well so far. I've been enjoying this series more and more. I thought it's weird how some people try to hate on it, but that's probably because they have some grudge. Not. It's just that one small forum place. I'm not even gonna say it out loud. It was just weird. I'm like, ooh, is this
Oh, I know
this?
what you're
What did
talking
this
about.
do? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna say out loud, but I do think the community is really good so far. I think everybody enjoying the series because they know what the series is about. It's not about like the action because it has action, but it's not the main focus. That's
No, it's
not
not.
their priority. The priority is to have adventure, have fun with the character, which it does, and be amazed how they invent technology with the Stone Age. Again, pun intended, but that's just how it is, and that's a fun series. However, it's still early on, and it feels like we have a more luck talking about with Black Clover because the state that's in right now is very interesting. It's very compelling, and it's just something that we have been eyeing on since the not the very beginning. Well, maybe for Lucky Chi, but for me, it happened like in around chapter 55 or 50.
I
It
think
is
that's a
something I
50.
am right. It's around there, but like I wasn't. But again, it is something that I'm interested now because how fun is, how much it has improved from the last time I talked about it in my YouTube channel, and I don't mind to talk about it on a weekly basis. I may not review it on a weekly basis, but that's a lot of time consuming. Trust me,
It
it's
really
a lot of
is.
work on my end. But hey, doing it in the podcast is good enough for me and it's good enough to chat with a friend. So that's the best part. And I'm happy to be part of it and hope to do more of this podcast very soon.
Same. Honestly, like again, doing this Black Clover's thing I could have done, similar to like what I do with my other series, like with My Hero Academia, with One Piece. I'm gonna get back to, but yeah, One Piece, Fairy Tail at given point, Attack on Titan, like Noragami. It could have been one of those series where like I do like a live reaction to, and then you know I could definitely do that, but I didn't want it to be like every series I read it ends up becoming like, oh yeah, let's do a live reaction. Because I wanted a couple series that I kind of just want to read myself and then just kind of see where it goes. Like I'm doing that with Food Wars right now, and Food Wars is great. And Sparta can agree with me wholeheartedly on that. But yeah, so when it came to Black Clover, I just thought, yeah, like doing it like this, with in a podcast format with a buddy, I think just works perfectly for the series. And it's actually just going to be the system I'm going to be sticking by. So just like with Tokyo Ghoul we're going to try to do every week because you guys know Tokyo Ghoul. There'd be times where it wouldn't exactly be happening every week. Life happens, so you can expect that. But definitely expect the podcast next week. Like that's going to be coming for sure when the next chapter drops. And honestly, we could talk about a lot more for Black Clover, but I feel like we've already talked a lot about the series, especially like with where the series can go. And aside from that, guys, that is pretty much it. I'm Lucky G7,
Sparda3g.
and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.